You're listening to the Jonesy and Amanda podcast.
This isn't like you to bring up Married at First Sight for the pub test. I've fallen into Married at First Sight again. I know I'm addicted. I have a problem.
I live vicariously through you because I choose not to watch it. And you said this year you weren't going to, but I know you've been sucked back in.
Okay, so Married at First Sight this year, there's a lot of firsts. The most disgusting kiss ever on Australian TV. It's like going to a mango eating competition. That was dreadful. The most irritating man on Australian TV. No, this guy.
Hello.
God.
Why do you watch it?
Shut up.
Why do you watch
Cashing
it?
on your 5 minutes, mate. Anyway, one of the brides on the show has a child, and someone let the cat out of the bag.
Well, she didn't want to let the cat out of the bag. She didn't want people to know, apparently.
And as she so maternally put it,
Who the hell told him I had a kid?
I'd be pointing the finger at my drunken uncle, Gia.
So what does he think? What does Gia do?
Gia does. She's the house mum. She looks after her daughter.
Oh, yeah, okay, she's got a daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So uncle's 5 beers deep.
I'd be pointing the finger at the drunken uncle and also caesarean scars. Always a giveaway.
They're always a giveaway. Where'd you get those from?
See, at what point are you going to discuss this? This is the thing that I find interesting, and I know this is a TV show and it's, supposed real relationships, etc. But it does start a conversation. If you're not going to admit to being a parent,
Yep.
A, that's a red flag that the child's not front and centre for you. But I think you have the right of going into this show to know if someone you're matched with has a child, because it's okay to say you're not up to that, and she should want to know whether he's up for that.
When this is different times. When we were kids, my parents said, "Don't come home with a single mother." That was the thing. That's how the prism of 1990. I've been married since 1992.
There are lots of single parents around, but also you are allowed to not want to parachute into somebody's life and raise their children. That may be a wonderful thing for you, but you're allowed to have the choice.
But I'm looking from Gia's side of this at the moment, because in a way you're sort of going, oh, well, at the altar, Married at First Sight is not a natural thing.
No, but she has filled out a million forms. She's had a psych test.
But is it her job to tell the
Yes, it is.
the groom?
No, it's her job to put that in her information. And if he hasn't been informed of that, that's probably the producer's deliberate story.
Yeah, of course, because
Let's have a bit of
that's why we're talking about it. That's why we're watching it.
I know, but I do think that sets up a terrible precedent if people think, oh, that's what happens. I do know someone who did that. She thought it'd be a short-term fling. At some point, at what point, if it becomes more serious, do you say, here's something I need to tell you? I just think it's fraught. It's a red flag if it's not important enough to you.
Yep.
And he or she has a right to know if you have a child, I think.
What do you think?
We're putting this to the pub test today. Not saying early in a relationship that you have a child. Does this pass the pub test?
I'd say it's a big no. Got to mention the kid. If you want a relationship with somebody, how do you know if they want kids or not? You're setting yourself up to fail.
You should bring it up first thing. You should say that you have a kid. I'm 23 years old. I'm a full-time single dad. And I get on the Tinder. I get on the dating app. I cut it forward and just say, I've got a kid, love.
Look, I think it depends whether it's a not negotiable on your list. For me, it's a not negotiable, no children. And so, no, it doesn't pass the pub test for me.
Well, look, I'm with Jonesy. Firstly, that I've been dragged into Married at First Sight again, but I'm with Amanda. Is having a child, or as a kid, as she referred to it, should be front and centre. So not mentioning it definitely doesn't pass the pub test.
No, upfront and honest. Your children are your life, They're coming with you into the relationship. It happened to my daughter and she was upfront and honest. So upfront and honest, your kids are your priority.
You should be telling guys that you're serious about that you've got a kid. But if you're at the pub and looking for a one-night stand, I don't think you need to.
But that's interesting, because what happens if you have a one-night stand and it ends up, I'll just be a two-night stand. Look, I'll see him for a month and then what if you end up having a long-term relationship? This is stuff of movies. At what point do you confess?
This is what you say. Here's a packet of chips, mate. Go and sit in the car for a bit.
Say that to the kid?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're not saying it to the person that you're dating, idiot.
I've got to take my kid to school. Do you mind sitting in the back of the car with a packet of chips?
What does old mate think?
Shut up.
I'm with him.
Does the P have to be so pronounced?
I know you're going to talk about this show again tomorrow and you're going to say you've been dragged back in.
It's an addiction, okay?
You can do something about that.
I've got to get help.